once again, our justice system doesn't always act out the way that we think it should. And sometimes people who are victims have to suffer for long periods of time, years and years before justice is served. And sometimes those who are in prison waiting for it die before justice. I know that. It's complicated. But there's still this principle. God put the authority in place. And I promise you, He's going to come back and make every wrong right. He's going to take care of it. He will. No one's going to get a free pass. He's going to deal with all of it. He says, but listen, for you need to submit to the authority over you as long as, once again, it's not immoral, it's not illegal. Make sure that if they're asking you to break laws, then that's when you have to draw the line. They have names for people like that. They're called whistleblowers, right? Whistleblowers. If you're inside a corporation and an organization that are doing wrong, you know it's wrong, then you could say, listen, I can't be part of this. What's going on here is not legal, and I just can't submit myself to that authority that's over a higher authority. Here's the way it plays out. Remember when the apostles were arrested, they were brought in before the Sanhedrin, and they were talked, says, we command you not to proclaim the name of Jesus. We told you not to talk about Him anymore, not to use that name. And they said, listen, we must obey God rather than man. What they were telling them to do was against what God told them to do. So the only time we really politely disagree with those in authority over us are when those who are in authority over us tell us to do something opposite of God's principles. I want you to shift this money from this one and don't let anyone else know about it. I just would not be involved in that. You know what I mean? If they're asking you to do something that you know is outright wrong, you can appeal and say, listen, I am sorry, I just can't do what you're asking. That is illegal, and I can't do that. I'll do anything else you want, but I can't break known laws for you. I like you, but I like not being in prison more. So there are certain things that we can. Now, we go a little bit further. Therefore, you must be subject, not only because of wrath, but also for conscience sake. When you disobey authority, you think, well, I got away with that. He says, in your conscience, God's not going to let you get away with it. It's going to bother you. When you know that you did something wrong, it won't leave you alone, because God gave you this conscience that, listen, what you did over there, you lied to your boss. You told me you did this, you didn't do that. You told me you came in, it didn't happen. You have to be very, very careful on that. And Tony Evans has a wonderful story about authority in the workplace and dealing with it. When he was going to seminary, and he was in Dallas, Texas, he worked night shift. He went to classes during the day and worked night shift. And he said the night shift was good and bad. It was good because you can be there. It was less going on. He said, but there was a problem with the night shift. Things were going on that were not good. As a matter of fact, it was illegal. Some of the things that we do, they'd have certain people came in and they said, we'll clock you in. You just don't even worry about it. We'll clock you in. You go do whatever you want, and we'll clock you in, clock you out, and you'll get paid for it, and you take care of business. They would take turns doing this. And they would come to Tony. Say, Tony, he said, I ain't doing it. But you have to. No, I don't. I don't have to do it. He said, everyone else is doing it. He said, I don't care about everyone else. I'm not doing it. And they wrote him. They were angry with him, and they would give him extra work. And his bosses were hard on him. Well, all of a sudden there was an investigation. It was pending. It was coming through. And they found out, and they checked all the time cards. And they came to Tony Evans, and they pulled him aside and said, listen, we've been watching for some time now. You're the only person that didn't do this. We want to put you as a foreman over the night shift. Then everyone that was enticing him to do wrong now had to work for him. He said, listen, I promise you, if you do what's right, God will take care of those who are in authority over you. He'll do it. He'll take care of it. You just need to do what's right. Now, he didn't do what is illegal. The extra chores they told me to do, the extra work, I did all that. But I'm not going to break God's law for them. I'm not going to do it. And he didn't. He says, God will take care of authority. I said, I promise you, if you follow authority and do what's right, God will take care. He said, those rascals did not like when I became foreman, and now they had to work for me. Because now they knew they couldn't get away with anything. And guess what? The production improved, the output improved, the revenue increased. And it's because one man said, I'm not going to do anything that's illegal. I'll respect authority, I'll listen to it, but I'm not going to do anything that's illegal. And that came out, and he got promoted to the level of authority that God would want in place. Like too much? This, you also pay taxes. For they are God's ministers. You know how many times he said minister, minister, minister? These are God's ministers, attending continually to this very thing. The government has to operate. Is there wasteful spending? Absolutely. Are they going to have to give an account to God for it one day? Absolutely. Do we have to pay taxes? Absolutely. Yes, we do. We do. You give to Caesar, so just give every dollar you got with this picture on it. I know George Washington have a problem with. It's the Hamiltons and Grants I have a problem with. Anyway, set up. And when government runs well, it's a setup that God established. It was there, carried over all the way from Israel's days. They paid temple tax, they paid taxes, they paid so everything could continue to run smoothly. So you can live in a center, if you will, a community where everything worked. Doesn't mean it always goes the way it should, but that's the way it's designed to run. And part of us paying taxes to make sure it does, paying our fair share. In 13:7, render therefore to all their due. Taxes to whom taxes are due, customs to whom customs, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. So if you just do what's right, God's going to take care of you. And we have to put this in place. All the money I got, we say, well, it belongs to God anyway. Well, just give him God's money. It's all God's money, right? I mean, we say that, say everything I have belongs to God. We say it, but then when they ask, well, wait a minute, preacher, now that's getting personal. Well, if it all belongs to him, you have to give him some of God's money he gave to you, give it to him. It's his. You got to give you more. If you do what's right with it, he'll give more to you. Do it. Now, the funny thing about this, and we went to Cuba, and you see how they operate. And it was funny. This one time we went. Now, we took extra things to give away. And we went, I read this, and I see customs, and we went through customs. Now, we paid extra to take the suitcase with us to Cuba because we took eyeglasses, to all these other things that people need to give away. We just take them and we give them away. So we paid extra money to take the extra suitcase there. Well, we were on the Havana, and we're flying over to the Island of the Youth, which is the island we did ministry on. We had to take another plane. And so we're over there, and while we're there, the lady, she's talking to my translator, my interpreter, and she's saying, and I said, what's she saying? She said, your bags are too heavy. I said, I know, we brought extra stuff to give away. As soon as we get to the island, we're not going to bring it back. We brought it to give away. She said, but your bags are too heavy. It's okay. So, we had two options. She said, one, we can take your bag over there and they will make it lighter. That means they'll go take whatever they want. That's what that meant. They can go through it and make your bags lighter because they'll take what they want. Or, and I said, or. So then I took a CUC, a 20 CUC, and I slid it across the counter, and she put her hand on top of it, and she said, your bag looks lighter. Someone was getting something out of the deal. It just wasn't me. So you have to pay taxes. Sometimes you pay customs, even if they're not official. And fear to whom fear, and honor to whom honor. So it's really how we respond to authority is how we're going to respond to God. If you rebel against authority, you'll end up rebelling against God. If you teach your children to rebel against authority, they'll end up rebelling against God. If you teach children to honor authority and respect authority, and that's something big in our house, I hate disrespecting authority. That will get me madder than a wet hornet when my children disrespect authority. That I do not like that one bit. God put those people over you, from your parents, me, your mother, the other people, your teachers, anyone who's authority over them. I want them to respect authority. I want them to honor it because God put it there. So we want to teach them to respect authority and honor it, so that, because you go back to that promise, it says, listen, if you honor your mother and father, that means follow the authority they have and teach you, then your days will be, they will live longer if they respond to authority. It'll be better for them. So we teach them authority from a young age, and we want them to do what's right. And you're going to have problems when you run into authority from time to time. There are going to be people who are not really honest in certain areas, and we get that. It's not our authority to straighten them out. It's our authority. We submit to it. That's what we do. You don't have to like it. And once again, unless it's illegal, unless it's immoral, unless it's unbiblical. I mean, that's the three things we say. If it's not illegal, immoral, or unbiblical, then do it. I don't like it. I didn't ask you if you liked it. How many times do you ask your kid to do something? Well, I don't like it. Well, I didn't ask you if you wanted to. I'm telling you to do it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like everything you do. But if authority asks you to do it, then we do it. Why? So we honor God the way He wants to be honored. He said, this is the way I'm honored. When you respect authority that I put over you, then you honor me. So respect the authority I put over you, and you honor me. I mean, you can tell God you love Him all day long, but if you rebel against the authority on a regular basis He put over you, you're saying, I don't give a flip what you think. That's what you're doing. You say, well, no, I'm not saying that. Yes, you are. You're living it out. You either do things God would like you to do them, or you rebel against Him. But He said, once again, rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. Meaning, if you want to rebel against me, you might as well go worship my enemy, because that's what you're doing. If you're going against good, then you're promoting evil. If you're rebelling against what's right, then you might as well be worshiping Satan. You think, that's kind of strong. It is strong. And He meant what He said, and He said what He meant. We've got to get authority under control and understand that if God instituted it, if He put it in place, and He wants us to submit to it, then that's what we do. You don't have to like it, but you have to do it. You'll be better for it if you do. So the challenge is this. I want you to, throughout the week, just list, I don't care if it's mentally, I don't care if it's on a list, how you do that, type it on your pad. Who is an authority over you? Who are people in authority over you? How are you responding to them? And when you do that, when you look at, oh my goodness, I've been rebelling against this authority in my life, it would be okay for you to go back to them and say, I'm sorry, I've been rebelling against you. That's not how a Christian was supposed to behave. I remember one time I was embarrassed. We were in college and I bought this stereo to put in my car, and it didn't work right. And I saved up good money for that, and I bought it, and I was angry that it didn't work right from this one store I brought it from. And I went in, and it seemed like the manager was helping everyone else except me. And every other person he talked to instead of me made me just a little bit more mad. Just a little bit more. Just until I got really angry. And I just gave him a piece of my mind. And really was really rude to him. To the point when I left, I couldn't stand myself. God convicted me. That came on me. He said, that's not how my children are supposed to behave themselves. I had to go back and find the manager and say, I am so sorry. He said, that's what I get paid for. I said, not from a child of God, you don't. You don't get paid for that. I just want to let you, I am sorry for how I behaved. That was not polite. It was rude. I had no business treating you like that. And he said, you're like one of the very first ones that ever came back and apologized for how they behaved. Usually I just get it all day long. No one ever comes back. Well, how many Christians treat people in ways, and authority figures, ways that they shouldn't, and don't give another thought about it.